Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. We are standing a few hours away from one of the best days of the year, and hopefully you've all been able to get your holiday gifts together for the ones that you love, and hopefully you get some gifts that you're interested in as well. So I did get a chance to go out today and do some game hunting. And it was a little dry, but I did get a really good find. So I'm going to share that with you towards the end of today's video. But I wanted to do a follow-up from a video I did yesterday where I went over 25 of my favorite shoot 'em ups on the Switch. And it had me thinking about shoot 'em ups that have come out by Nintendo across various Nintendo consoles, from the Game Boy to the GameCube, Wii, you name it, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. And I figured, you know what, let me go ahead and talk about 10 Nintendo shoot 'em ups that people probably don't realize are out there, because I don't think any of the Nintendo consoles are really known for shoot 'em ups. I think Sega pretty much had the shoot 'em up game on lock. Sega, probably Neo Geo, TurboGrafx, those systems. But there were some pretty interesting ones on the Game Boy, and not just the Game Boy, but rather that Nintendo put out. And I'm going to share them with you. And we're going to start off with this bad boy right here. And this is Phalanx. Phalanx. Now, this is a game that actually came out on the Super Nintendo. It's the game that has the guy with the banjo on the cover, so you would never know that it's actually a shoot 'em up. But I guess they figured they'd change that on the Game Boy Advance and give it an actual, make it look like an actual shoot 'em up. And there's really nothing like special or unique about Phalanx. It's a very standard shoot 'em up. It has good pacing, good gameplay, and it's definitely a good one to play on the Game Boy Advance. I think it's a pretty looking game, but I don't think many people know that Phalanx was also released on the Game Boy Advance. So if you didn't know and you're looking for an interesting space shooter on the GBA, Phalanx is out there for you. That's definitely one of them. Here's another one that I've played time and time again, beaten it a bunch of times. That's Battle Unit Zeoth. This is kind of like a mech shooter. So you don't really play as a spaceship. You play as kind of like this mech fighter. You get like different power-ups throughout the game, and I think you can power your weapon up to about 5 or 6 levels, where it's this kind of like wide spread shot. It's not a long game at all, but I just thought the concept was really cool, and to find this type of a game on the original Game Boy is actually really sick. So Battle Unit Zeoth, it's a side-scrolling space shooter. I would definitely check it out on the Game Boy if you have a Game Boy. Let's change it up now. Here's one on the N64 that you may not realize is out there. So Star Soldier, Vanishing Earth. Now, the gameplay on this game, Star Soldier, it plays between the graphics and the sound effects. It kind of plays like Ray Storm, and it is from that generation, that whole 5th generation of consoles and games. But Star Soldier is pretty cool. It's got a cool power-up system. It's not super difficult. It's not like a bullet hell style shooter or anything. But it does have like kind of like this isometric view, not isometric, but kind of like a semi top down, like an angled top down view, working off of like this whole 3D kind of setting type. So Star Soldier is a cool one. The sound effects are okay. But you may not have realized that this was out on the N64, and you may not even realize that shoot 'em ups were available on the 64 at all. So if you were wondering, yes, they are available, and Star Soldier is one that you can grab. I remember when I first got this, I really wanted to make sure that it was authentic, so I had to slit the sticker there to crack it open to make sure it was legit. But yeah, check that out. Star Soldier is a pretty cool one. Here's one for the Super Nintendo. We got a Super Nintendo one here. So Imperium on the Super Nintendo. This is one that I've had for a while on the Super Nintendo. This is an interesting one. This one plays kind of like somewhat of like Robo Alesti. It kind of plays like that. It also kind of plays like, what's the one that they got there? Kind of like Musha is kind of how Imperium plays. Really good graphics, Super Nintendo, so you know the music is decent, but I don't think a lot of people know about this one on the Super Nintendo. Everyone pretty much knows about like R-Type 3, because that's like the big hitter. There are a few others on the Super Nintendo that folks know about, but Imperium is one that I don't think a lot of folks know about or talk about. And this is definitely one I would check out on the Super Nintendo. It is a rare one, though. This one is a little bit pricey. So if you do happen to run into this in the wild, I say check it out. It's worth a go. Here's another one on the Super Nintendo. Strike Gunner. I remember I was walking into a comic book store one day and I happened to see this in the glass case, and it was so random because they didn't sell a ton of games, but they happened to have this one there, and I was like, a shoot 'em up on the Super Nintendo. This is when I was first collecting for the Super Nintendo, and I saw it, played it. Strike Gunner is pretty cool. Nothing super special about this one. An interesting shooter on the SNES, but I know it's not one that a lot of folks know about. So Strike Gunner, check this out if you get a chance. This is a pretty cool one. We're going to shift on over to some DS action. So here is an isometric shooter for sure. So Nano Stray is a pretty cool one. It kind of plays a little bit like Star Soldier, now that I think about it. But this one is a pretty cool battle system. I like it. It does have 2-player head-to-head combat and follows that whole 3D art style or gameplay style. So I'm not a fan of the whole 3D shoot 'em up personally, but there aren't a lot of shoot 'em ups available on the DS. So Nano Stray is one that you can check out if you're wondering, hey, are there any shoot 'em ups on the DS? There sure are. Nano Stray is one, and you can check that one out. And if that's not enough for you, check it out. You've got part 2, right? So you've got Nano Stray 2, which is the second rendition. It takes everything to a whole new level, including the gameplay and graphics. Becomes a little bit more of a bullet hell style and does have some side-scrolling elements to it as well. So this one is actually a pretty cool take on it. This is also on the DS. Nano Stray 2 is a cool one that I spent some time playing when I first got it. So a couple really cool shooters on the DS, if you're wondering. They've got them out there. And they've got more shooters on the DS. There's another one. So Underwater Shark Attack on the DS is pretty interesting because this is a shoot 'em up that I think utilizes the stylus. You kind of have to utilize the stylus on this one, if I'm not mistaken. But the levels are pretty cool. I like the whole bullet hell style that it got going on there with the side scrolling. But just using that stylus is a pain for me. Like playing it is a little bit tough. But this is an interesting shoot 'em up on the DS. If you were wondering, definitely check that out. Got 3 cool ones there for you to try on out. Now, don't think that the GameCube was just meant for Breath of Fire or not Breath of Fire, but for like Mario games and stuff like that, because there was at least one really good shooter on there. There are a couple good ones. Everyone knows about Ikaruga, but Chaos Field was equally beautiful on the GameCube. This is an amazing shoot 'em up. I've spent some time playing this. I like it. This is more of like that top-down style shoot 'em up. Definitely bullet hell. Follows the whole 3D setting as well, but it's a little more clean on the GameCube because the graphics were just a little more clean on the GameCube. 1 player, but I do like the fact that just the colors and the way it's laid out, the music in this one is pretty good. And again, if you're wondering if there's a shoot 'em up on the GameCube, there is one. Check it out. Chaos Field, pretty cool. You might like it. Now, we've got one more that I'll go through with you, and this one was more so exclusive to the Wii, and that is the Ultimate Shooting Collection on the Wii. The Wii did have a few shoot 'em ups, and this one includes a few pretty cool ones: Radio Allergy, Karos, and then of course Chaos Field, which we just talked about on the GameCube. So you can also play that in this collection here on the Wii. But hang on, there's also another shoot 'em up that I have on the Wii, and it's this bad boy right here, and that is the Castle of Shikigami 3. I used to have Castle of Shikigami 2 on the PlayStation 2, and I actually wound up selling it when I sold a bunch of PlayStation games off. I was tempted to sell Castle of Shikigami 3, but it's one of the only, like, you know, the Wii has so much shovelware on it that whenever I find an actual, like, really good Wii game, I keep it. And this one was sealed, too. I don't think I ever broke the seal on this one. So, yeah. So, Castle of Shikigami 3 is a pretty cool one. Again, another bullet hell style shoot 'em up, very fast-paced. If you suffer from seizures, don't play this one, because this one definitely will have bullets all over the place. So, Castle of Shikigami 3 is another cool one that I definitely recommend. And just a pile of some really quirky, kind of just strange shoot 'em ups across a number of systems on the Nintendo, across a number of Nintendo consoles. I definitely recommend trying them out. Just try them out, right? If you like them, keep them. If not, you can always sell them because all of these games have a decent amount of value, so you should be able to get your money back. All right, so now it's time to show you the one pickup that I got today on Christmas Eve. I did not a lot of hunting, but a decent amount of hunting. And lo and behold, the place that got me my deal was GameStop. And I happened to run into a pretty solid copy, no pun intended, of Metal Gear Solid, the Legacy Collection. So I've never been a huge Metal Gear Solid fan. I've played Metal Gear Solid here and there. I do like it as a series, as a franchise. But this one was really cool to run into at GameStop because I think this one fetches a pretty penny. I've seen this go anywhere between, I'd say maybe 45 and, up to 65 bucks for this one. So they had it there at GameStop for about 30 bucks. So was glad to find that, about 50% off. Only negative is that there's a little bit of damage to the artwork there that you can see right there. But outside of that, it was a pretty clean copy. And the best part about it is, how GameStop does. It did come with the full manual, the insert, and both discs are included as well. So this was a really cool find for me. Was definitely glad to pick this one up. I mean, I didn't buy a whole lot of games that are worth, $5,000 for 200 bucks, but the small wins here and there, the small wins over time definitely help to add up to a really cool collection. And remember, we're not reselling anymore. I'm really not into doing any type of reselling. Everything that I pick up, I intend on keeping in my collection. And I just want to build a very solid, curated collection of just high quality games. And that's the goal in 2024. Quality over quantity, and buying the games that we like, the games that we want. So let me know what you found today. Christmas is tomorrow. Again, I hope you get everything that you wanted. Hope you get to enjoy it. Let me know if you found anything today or if you made any last minute pickups. Thanks for stopping by. I am the Y2K Collector. I will see you next week. Take it easy.